I greet you all, Mr. Lumfambula, in the best of greetings. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon everybody, upon myself and all the listeners them. This is my third episode of the pandemics in Sierra Leone. We do identify a lot of them, more than 20. Then we zero in on the mama on the second episode, we will know corruption. So this episode is about corruption. Mina Amadou Bari. I did in Canberra today, the 16th of April. They make this video from yours. Today's topic came about due to the positive feedback I don't receive from the community, from the people. They say, let me expand. So I go on the internet, I do a little bit of research. There's so much literature about corruption in the developing world, on the internet. So all I have to do is just couple things together and explain and in Creole. I do this in Creole so that the layman Nasalong will be able to understand. Because communication is one of the biggest problems we get in our country. The book money and they speak big English and we sometimes we don't really understand. So I try to do this in Creole. This third episode I'd want to be the final, but I realize say what they can say if we be separate from the last bit where I want to say, when how to end corruption, how to prevent corruption. Then it will be a separate episode. And before we get there, I decided to come with this third episode, when about corruption, the types of corruption, causes of corruption, corruption in the different sectors and methods of corruption. Let's start. What is corruption? Corruption, we all know, is a form of dishonesty and criminal offense by somebody who you don't get trust. You say, you hold this trust here on behalf of everybody, on behalf of the country. And then that person there, he manipulates, he do something when for satisfy in your selfishness. Then in corruption. This can happen in government, it can happen to business, it can happen to the private sector as well. And corruption can include bribery, for bribe somebody, or for thief. So we all know say corruption is condemned by any sober-minded somebody or any religion. We are very religious and tolerant people in our country. So corruption is not endorsed by any of our religion or any of the decent human being. So what is the type of corruption? We get petty corruption, whether the peggy, bank corruption. We get the grand corruption. And then we get this systemic corruption. We know the chronic corruption. I want to ask one question first. Let's see which of them type of corruption apply to Salon. Petty corruption, grand corruption, and systemic corruption. From my own point of view, all of them here apply to Salon. It's very sad. It's very, very unfortunate. What is that petty corruption? Petty corruption are like where you go register your license, or you go report case at the police station, and then this when the public, we own the public, we government they represent, we want to go access some of our services, and then we come into contact with the public officials there where we put there for survey. And they begin to ask, now this petty corruption can happen. All man want get small thing for help you, for make you fulfill what you get for good do. For where you want register for your license, you must car, and something you want you house, you land things, everything so far. You understand? When we the public will come into contact with the public officials the way they represent we. Now that petty corruption that can happen. And we all know say Salu, he did it. At times when you go to police station for go report a case, then they ask you, say, you have to buy paper. You understand? Eh? I don't want to go into detail because it could be too long. Grand corruption, when at the second one, it means it happen at the highest level of government. And it means them people away in the government, they for manipulate, them for do something. They don't just take something so no more. Understand? They get for do something for bend the rules, for bend the system and the process, for making them go able for cheat the system. And this is mainly found in like countries like Salon, or also you get dictators that, you understand, now they didn't think it happen. So this to me also apply to Sierra Leone. For example, we get ghost workers and people they will receive salary on some people rice supply, we government they supply. You understand? And with taxation, we tax they come in from Wataki, this that then can wait and they you understand? It is there. The people are sabi and just the do one. And then we get this systemic corruption. The systemic corruption, where a chronic corruption now, where the system that we will put in place, they're so weak. We institutions, they're so weak. The processes that we will get in place, they're so weak. They're not able. We not get checks for money to the system. And under our brow, the car we see get office, we see them put in our office. The next day, you don't put up 3-story, 5-story. Sometimes that's scary, this scared. You don't able to put 10, 15 if you want. I make it a key separate and go back, Makeni 3 plots of land, go back Kono 5, go back Mwemba, this, that, like everything. Because the system is so weak, you're not able to trace all that in there. That's not systemic corruption. So I want to talk a little bit about the systemic corruption. What do they encourage systemic corruption in our country? We get conflicting incentives. Recently, I say somebody when I be minister, he get a business, where that business they get contract from government. Understanding the conflict of interest. You understand? You didn't a government and then you company, business where they run, they win contract from the government, through dodgy means. How money they come to you, they share around with the minister and the one they within the office. Under one. Discretionary powers. We get where the minister or the boss, you get young power for decide would I live or would I die. An example is, like the judiciary, the lands ministry, where they take land from Peter, give the land to Paul. It happen. I just come I see all lentin in the and we get monopolistic powers then. When a one green person not able to do this year, it abuse, it becomes so corrupt. Like we get somebody with the supply government. When I want to the supply government Inc., for example, or S. This time the government don't take say now you supply. You understand? It do what you want. It sell rest at what you want. You understand? You don't get nobody who will challenge them. Because government again the and lack of transparency. You know, get away with it, audits all them transactions, yeah. And then low pay. Some of the people who put in government, we say money they exchange and the salary is not enough for making them get chop money now. So that's one factor. And the culture of impunity, where somebody to do whatever you want, the afraid the loss because see Uda one lay mama wear black and go fall around. You understand? Think of it in the person that he's untouchable. Specific acts of corruption in a system where this systemic corruption, where corruption is so popular, people believe say now in forbid the norm, not to the exception, And they can do this corruption through what I just mentioned, through bribery, like I said, extortion. They get people in the way in the force and they say, bro, you get to do this. You know, today you been do so thing. Otherwise, will they expose you? Understand? Eh? And they force them, then they do them. And through embezzlement, where the thief, you know. So what are the causes of corruption? Klitgard say, wherever you feel say the corruption again, Iboku pass the penalty for punish the person who is corrupt, multiplied by the likelihood of being caught and prosecuted. It motivate corruption. Because I know say if I corrupt, I get $10,000. And I know say if they catch me, the punishment is very unlikely. You know, even if you multiply by the likelihood of being caught, and for making them catch me, it's very rare. I take 10,000, I take 1,000, I go give police, I go give all the people like case solver. You know. And also in the Klitgard, he also amend this in opinion. He say the degree of corruption can be determined where the degree of corruption is equal to the monopoly plus the discretion minus transparency and morality. I know one cause, you know, because I'm man all cause, so I just hang in there. And according to a 2007 survey, the following factors have been attributed as the causes of corruption: the greed of money, the desire, the self-aggrandizement. Bob Marley once say, money is just numbers. So if you feel say you get satisfaction from money, the numbers don't end. Can you imagine? You go be corrupt till you die, and you pass on that corruption until you begin up. Extravagant family. We get some people in our country who know say them picking, then they go school, then the expensive school, then they eat fine, and they wear fine, the neighbor picking, and they suffer. Then they even go to a village, then go bring them auntie picking for help look after the young picking. Ebo. You know, we get like also the market and political monopolization. You look at the doctors and the lands ministry. I always like to bring the lands ministry because yonder it stink. You know, the witchcraft way they go yonder it pass mark. And the doctors then, you know, while times then they do some prescription. They know themselves. Weak property rights also can cause corruption. The lands ministry come into this. The right to use your own land or your own good to earn income from it, you know, to transfer legitimately to other people and to get rid of that land, all of that. We know say it's not a smooth process. You know, in the higher levels of bureaucracy, paperwork, middlemen, they all want commission, all want interest. All man sabi help for bypass the main process. And the low level of democracy, weak civil participation into the political transparency. We know some people in this high level of illiteracy and ignorance. The low press freedom. We know, you know, we media, you know, not all of them. Because one way standout of authority, unblemished record, like Umaru Fofana, the BBC correspondent with the Political. You see people and they wake up overseas, the first thing they do, then they go to Umaru Fofana in Facebook profile for checking updates. You know, we give credit, you know, for that. We wish everybody will be like that. It's not for sale, you know. The low economic freedom is also one of it. Where, you know, individuals are not free to innovate, to do things. They're not able for access that in there, you know. And the large ethnic, what they call ethnic divisions and high levels of in-group favoritism, discrimination and favoritism against one group, from one group to another, you know, gender inequality, poverty, the low levels of education, political instability, in a sense that right now they see the type of fake news the way people in the portray on social media, and they hammer that fake news for make it be true. You know, and people in the buy into it. Because of the low level of illiteracy and high level of ignorance we'll get. You know, and also for contagion from other side, we'll get some people where they can't sell, we could be saying, come on, corrupt places where they can count that habit today. You know, rob and pawi. You know, and the lack of commitment to society, social responsibility. We're not patriotic at all. You know, We just selfish, greedy, another cause, And also resource wealth, known as the paradox of plenty. Most of them countries that we visit, they get lots of resources. Like we get diamond, we get gold, we get water, we get fish, we get everything. It's so in abundance. If you of course, like saying that swear we never for use that in the day. And if you do a comparison about the most corrupt and the least corrupt countries then around the world, most of it is because of the huge socio-economic inequalities, the gap between the rich and the poor people. In areas then like Australia, where corruption is minimized, you have high degree of social and economic justice. So corruption in the different sectors there. I'm very sorry, this video I get for long. Let me take that other part out. How to prevent corruption. Corruption in the different sectors. If you look at the government and the public sector, the allocation of public funds, corruption is there. Contract hiring, grants, contract and hiring of staff. Within the political system, political corruption, the abuse of public office resources by elected officials for their own personal gain. Within the police, the army, or any of the security apparatus, for example, the force members that collude in lying, for prosecute somebody, for deal with somebody, or accepting bribe in exchange for reporting illegal activities, flouting the police code of conduct or the military code of conduct or whatever. And even in the judiciary, there's a corruption there related to misconduct of judges, through receiving or giving bribes, improper sentencing. Somebody go there, you don't kill. This is why they will put them behind bars forever. The judge or the magistrate receives something, they're knock and 6 months, or something. In the healthcare system, corruption at the healthcare system is one of the biggest, and the reason why it is so big, because it's so critical. Doctors and the healthcare system, they get the right to make, somebody live or die. So corruption there is about life and death. We know some doctors that they do prescription to you and then tell you yourself to go buy. Then tell you to go to Wurie Baibana pharmacy, that they go buy this medicine. I want to get that. Something na fake medicine, Wurie Baibana they sell. Understand? But because shame not there, In the education sector, of course, we know corruption there in colleges, university, exam marking, leakages, sex for grades. Within the labor unions, we know the labor union at times in the lobby for a particular mafia gang. Somebody one can invest in this. You understand? And at this type of salary one pay, you understand? You work with the labor. It is there. Corruption is there. Don't for say people don't know. Inshallah, go cover the next one. We say people are able for really know anti-corruption commission who will guide them how to do some of the things here. Even in the religion, there is corruption in philosophy. We get some of we leaders there, not the religious sectors there. We be say they want fame, they can do anything. They are for sale. And we get corporate corruption as well. Crimes committed either by a corporation or somebody. Okay, Inter. So we know we get corruption, at the corporate level by individuals or the organizations. We get the arms for cash. We get somebody who will be say this time they buy a weapon or bullets for the government, and corruption can happen there. We know we lost one of the most able, most respected military elders then, in our country. I hope say that will come to a complete that investigation, to complete conclusion. I know they name names because I want to make this as objective as possible. So what are the methods of corruption? The final point. Sorry, this audio is not long, man. I can't believe it. Bribery, or kickbacks. Bribery can be money, be gift, it can be sexual favors, with everything, right? Or election leaflet, election time, people give envelope, kickbacks. Embezzlement, theft, and fraud. converting public funds assets to unauthorized parties. It's happening. Grafts. When they call it graft, way money with the public, with the government for use. You understand? They intentionally misdirect and send onto some side. It is there. And then extortion and blackmail. We get some of the people that we they at the top of corruption. We they see that they know the shame self. Then get outside, hold them. Right. And they make you the turn, like, I don't know how they call that in the, you do what they want. Because they don't see, because you be there for sale, you shameless. They don't hold this on side. And they make you, they do everything for them. Influence in peddling, in government, somebody they use your influence, like me not being minister, they go use me influence on side negatively, And networking. Me na minister, I get me picking, then they call her Madingo man, me first picking. Understand? They mix Madingo man with the top people in the, with the intention, say, war up skin with the networking and some job opportunity come up. Understand? You get the job, bypass the other people then. Because it is deliberate. So, Mifambula, I'm very sorry. Don't take too much. The next episode of prevention of corruption in the camp. And I hope this message is going directly for the Anti-Corruption Commission. To fight corruption, not just wait for make people and come and give you hints. We suspect this. You need to come up with some measures that will be say you to be proactive. A typical example. For example, you go to the passport office. Alhamdulillah, then get this FOI now, where Mr. Shigashaw, the Freedom of Information. You can go there, you say, look, this is just a tip. The last 100 people that will apply for passport for this date range, from January to March. We want their information, we want their contact details. We need to call them and ask them how much you pay for your passport, how much, what do you do? Just a tip. The one that we buy land, where they going to land ministry. This is just a tip of the iceberg about what in for come, about how we fight corruption and bring an end to it. If you're not able to survive on your salary, don't take up public position, because we don't want you. We have to kick out corruption as alone. Nami Amadou Bari, I'm very sorry. This audio is done really, really long, and for satisfy my own questions, I need to bring this to this level. And I will see you back for the one final audio, inshallah, on the corruption pandemic. Now we salon, sweet salon. Thank you so much. I love you all. Bye.